All right, this is a video response to Days English for a comment that he wrote, generously wrote in Russian for me. It took me a couple extra seconds to go to ChatGPT and get it translated there, but not a problem. We thank goodness for ChatGPT. So Days English asks 3 questions. The first is, what's the process of this method, matrix method, from beginning to advanced level up toward native-like fluency? What does your or my personal language learning routine look like? How much time do you dedicate per day? And I also have a question about inflected parts of speech, such as cases, like in Russian, fitting that that would be part of this question with the Russian comment. So cases, like when the word cup isn't just cup, it's different depending on if it's the subject or the object. And that's the thing that gives people a lot of trouble in Latin and Russian and Slavic languages. So question number 1, what does the method look like from beginning to advanced? Okay, so there's a video on this. I won't tell you every little thing because there's videos on this, but there is a system of white belt to black belt. And in the middle, it goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, like the colors of the rainbow. Now, this isn't arbitrary. This came after years of OPI training with military people and the like. These are actual levels that are not related to the grammar of the language. Usually we think like, oh, advanced language means advanced grammar, but not really. You can use advanced grammar in basic conversations. And so we shouldn't think of language as going from basic to advanced because of the grammar. It's all grammar is pretty basic. It is the basis. It's the core structures. The belt level colors are sets of skills that make you better on an OPI, which is answering questions. Okay. The reason that that matters is because if you can do well on an OPI, which is ask, or not even ask, just answer a question, then you can probably do well in real life. But if you can't do well on an OPI, there's a good chance that you also can't do well in real life. So it's kind of a deal breaker. Can I answer questions in the language? If not, I can't say I speak the language. White belt is when, I'm not even going to go through the levels, but I will say that when you hit green belt, which is the center of the 9 levels, the center one, you're over the hill, and now you're conversational. So basically we're going from pre-conversational to conversational. Okay, that's the major thing. Once you're conversational, why does it go downhill? Well, it goes downhill because now you're conversational. So the more you converse, the more you converse. Like the more you can speak, the more you can speak. The more you listen, the more you can speak. The more you listen, the more you listen. It's just you start to roll like a snowball where you have to try less and less. I mean, you could just watch a movie at that point and pick up a ton of expressions that you'd put right back into your routine. It is worth noting that the final level black belt, well, what skill is that? Like what's the quality of black belt? The final frontier of language learning is when your personality begins to resemble that of a native speaker. So the key word for black belt at the very end there is personality. And it has to do with downloading, like, you know when you hang out with a person for a long time, like for a week straight, like you start to talk like them? That's the same dimension that we're talking about here. It's when you start to embody that of the English-speaking personality, the ESP, or the Spanish-speaking personality, SSP, or the Arabic, and so on and so forth, okay? So in a nutshell, how do we get there? How do we traverse? How do we get up the mountain and down the mountain? Well, I mean, there's a lot of things you can say about it, but it all comes down to a very simple process, essentially, which is being able to ask and answer questions. Because the name of the game in this method, only in this method, is just conversation. So when people say, well, I'm learning this language because I want to read. Okay, awesome. This isn't a reading method, you know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. And when people say, well, I only listen because I'm the comprehensible input type, that's fine too. Where I'm just saying this is not that. This is an OPI method. It's based on my experience as a military linguist, where you're tested on your ability to go back and forth in the tennis game or martial art, jiu-jitsu, if you will, of conversation, all right? What does your personal language learning routine look like? That's question number 2. Okay, I have never in my life sat down to study a language. I've spent countless hours playing with language, looking at stuff, using my notebook, talking with people on the phone, going out and about and having experiences in life like speaking foreign languages. That's for sure. But I swear I've never sat down to study language, even at the DLI as a linguist. I never tried to study language. For me, language is such a creative process. and such a way to play. I like this. It's a way to play. It's not work. It's play. It's play so much that, look, I mean, what's your favorite thing to do? Like the most fun thing, like, skiing or something that you love to do. You would never say, okay, I really have to nail down this regimen. Got to get my 2 hours of like water skiing in today on the lake. Like, it's really a chore. Like, you only would do that if it's a chore. Okay. So when people be like, oh, I fell off my schedule. It's like, well, you clearly aren't enjoying it. So the priority is finding a way to enjoy it. I enjoy it for several reasons. One, because it's a logic game. It's just like, when you see patterns, it's satisfying. Just like a crossword puzzle is satisfying to see it come together when you go, a word search. It's a logic game, or a logic, but word search isn't logic now that I think of it. But whatever, it's like it's a puzzle. Okay, language is a puzzle to solve. So solving the language puzzle is fun, all right? Feeling my brain change as I start to think in the language. You can choose to think. People are like, I can't think, I still think in English. Why? Just put a notebook in front of you with the target language, the language you're learning. And just go, okay, well, let me tell you about this, and let me tell you about that, and then here's how you can say this. Let me just tell you some things, like using the patterns of the language. And why do you have to think? In fact, it's hard to think in English if you're just using the target language as a medium to express thoughts. It's impossible. It's like saying, oh, I think baseball when I'm playing soccer. It's like, if you're truly playing soccer, there's no way to think you're playing baseball, okay? I don't know if that's the case for everyone. I know a lot of people have their routines and they have their time, their amount of time that they do, and maybe that's a creative process of their own. Like if I strategically set aside this amount of time, I retain more. I don't know. I'm just not like that at all. It's pure play. It's pure play. It's 100% play and nothing other than play. And you never time your play. In fact, you wish it could last longer. Question 3, inflected speech languages with a ton of morphology, cases, Russian, Polish, and so on. Long story short, we don't study case charts, like a little chart here that says nominative, accusative, genitive, and everything. You don't sit and try to memorize that. Sitting in there and trying to memorize how a noun inflects is putting the cart before the horse. Okay, when a child learned, Russian, for example, they learned every inflection as it came to them, and it never just came out of nowhere. Like the parent never said, "Okay, and in fact, they never heard 2 inflections in a row." So, like the word for cup in nominative versus accusative, they never would have heard that same word, noun, inflected 2 different ways, right, one after another. Like they never say cup, like whatever, cupo or something. Like they would never hear. It's only in context, and it's only as needed. Okay, so I have a cup versus the cup is on the table. Different inflection. Okay, but you're not saying this cup 2 times in a row. It comes in a statement. So to the child's ear, I have a cup, and whatever inflection cup uses, that's tied to I have. There's no way to confuse it. Why? Because no one's going out of their way to confuse it, like as in confuse it, like fuse it together. No one's going out of their way to confuse it for you, but the teacher does. So the Russian teacher does exactly that. He or she confuses declension and makes it this thing that you think, oh, the only way to get it is to memorize my way through it. But that's not natural at all. So anyway, here's what you do. If you need to know, like, I have a cup versus the cup is on the table, put it in a statement. But that's not all. Think of the statement being right here. Okay, I have a cup, okay? One level above that is a question. Do you have a cup, or where's your cup, or whatever the question is that causes you to make that statement. Okay, this is the hierarchy or order of operations, okay? A statement is good, but a statement is not good unless you can figure out a way to put it into a question. If you can't create a question around something, then the statement is needless. Like for example, if it's like John eats apples, the question would be, what does John eat? Or maybe who eats apples? Like whatever that question would be. But if there's, which brings us to the top level, which is realia, which is the reality of the thing. Like it's the reality that you're trying to describe using language, okay? So if there is no person named John, and there's no apples around, and there's no John eating apples, then trying to learn to say John eats apples is completely without context. There is no John, okay? It all comes down to this. Only learn what you need. Learn to say the things you want to say first. Ideally, not ideally, like necessarily, question, answer format. Question, answer. Let it be all tied together by some realia. If there's no John, how else can I explain this? If there's no John, then why am I learning to say this random thing? There's enough real things to say out there that why would I waste my time saying something that's not real at all? So it goes realia, question, answer. Learn to say the things you want to say, and from that, extract the patterns that you need to say everything else. Let me repeat this mantra, and this will be the last point. This is a mantra. Learn to say the things you want to say, and from that, learn the patterns you need to say everything else. Final thoughts. I would not wait to begin speaking. I would not listen only. In fact, as soon as I have just a little of the language, I'm already going to try to send messages, go out to a restaurant, find people, use the little bit that I have. Another major mantra, it's a very small mantra. It's learn a little, use a lot. Most people try to learn a lot, never use anything. We flip that upside down. Learn a little and use a lot, right? If I only know 3 phrases in this language, you can believe I will be using those phrases at every opportunity I can. Usually it's, hi, how are you? I speak a little of this language, I'm learning, and then from there, all bets are off. But if I only know 5 sentences, I'm already using those sentences. Learn a little, use a lot. If you don't have a partner at any given moment, you can do it in your journal. It's like that quote, my pencil and I, supposedly Einstein said, my pencil and I are smarter than I. My notebook and I are smarter than I. It's like a practice partner. I can go question, answer, and this is the format. Question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. Build your routine in writing. Take that routine into conversation. Use the language as a creative tool, a medium for expressing your thoughts. And from that, extract the patterns that you need. And all of a sudden, one day you'll wake up and go, holy crap, I can say anything I want. Like I speak the language now. Like I'm fluent or whatever you call it. Like I speak Russian now. And that's it.